How's it sound on your mic?
Sounds good.
Sounds good? Oh, hold on. 1 second. Someone's calling me. Hello? Do you like Halloweekly? Ah! Hey, everybody.
Was not expecting that.
Yeah. That's how you open a podcast.
Nice job.
We're your hosts, Nick Rollins, here with
George Healy.
All right. So today, there's a lot of jelly in this donut. A lot of meat in this soup. A lot of toes in that sock.
You went with meat in the soup? There's chili cooking right behind you.
That's why.
Oh, okay.
It smells like chili in here.
Okay. It does.
So today we're talking about acting in horror films. So George, tell us a little bit where this, why is this important to talk about?
Well, we threw this question up on the Halloweekly Facebook page at Halloweekly, where we were asking fans to give us examples of horror movies that had two or more great standout acting performances in them.
Not just one.
Not just one. Two or more.
Because I would have went with Buried and with Brian Reynolds. I was that box knocked it out of the park.
That box didn't knock it anywhere. It just stayed right where it was. And we got a great response, and we really appreciate the response. And that was, the part of the mission of this whole podcast is that we feel like horror gets disrespected in some subtle and not so subtle ways as a genre. And one of the ways that we've noticed that it gets disrespected sometimes is in the acting department, where you see reviews for even great movies where basically they're saying that performance was adequate or they did their job and until the kill scenes came or whatever. So, but horror is one of the oldest and most important film genres, let alone TV series and literature and all that. And in the acting department, there are amazing performances to be found. So we were hunting for examples of two or more great ones. The fans gave us a lot, and then we came up with some of our own.
Mm-hmm. And so, just a heads up, we started talking about it, and then we noticed our list became bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So we're gonna see how many we can cram into our half-hour format here. Mm-hmm. So there's gonna be a part 2 and maybe a part 3.
Feels like this might extend.
I think fourth is probably safe to say. So let's kick it off.
Oh no, yeah, let's kick it off.
So if you want to see what some of the other horror fans, such as yourselves, said, check us out at Halloweekly. We have the whole thread there where people were talking about what they thought was good acting. First one right there is Manos, Hands of Fate.
Wow.
So we mean business here.
We do.
At Halloweekly. So go over there and let us know if somebody hasn't voiced some acting chops that you think deserve to be recognized. Go ahead and throw that up there. So kicking off our list, I want to start off. I have 2 ensembles and then one with two people who I think really knocked it out of the park. So one, I just want to get my first one out here.
Yes.
I know there's a lot of really good seasons in The Walking Dead. Mm-hmm. I need to get back onto the bandwagon, and now I know Fear the Walking Dead's out there, and you have all this other cool stuff. But I think the first season of The Walking Dead is just perfect. I fucking loved it. It was like 6 or 8 episodes. They kept it short. They kept it sweet, and I just think the whole fucking cast. And they're just starting out with, I think Andrew Lincoln as Rick is fucking amazing. And some of the people who, spoilers, if you haven't seen The Walking Dead or done any of that, a lot of the people who I loved on the list are no longer in the show,
right? For
reasons, like dying. So Andrew Lincoln's fucking amazing, but I think you have people like Daryl Dixon. What's his? I forget the name of that. Norman Reedus. You have his character who's still in there. He's great. I love the shit out of him. I really hope him and Guillermo del Toro and Hideo Kojima make that Silent Hill, make some game of some sort. But the people who I loved in the first season, I think that some of them lasted a few seasons but ended up falling off the bandwagon, was Shane, John Bernthal's character, which I fucking love that guy. Even in Wolf of Wall Street, he was great, and as the Punisher, god damn is he great. So him and Andrew Lincoln together is really great. And then I thought Jeffrey DeMunn I thought he was fucking phenomenal. He was sort of like who played Dale.
Right.
He was he was so sweet in the show. Mm-hmm. Like when he I think he died at the farm, which was like season 2 or 3. Fucking broke my heart. I loved him so much. He just seemed like the kind of guy that, like, even with like, they could have cured the whole zombie apocalypse thing and life could have went back to normal. Be like, can you still like tell me stories, Dale? Like,
Right.
Can you hang out
Totally.
with me? Like, I feel like you have a lot of good life advice in that noggin of yours.
Yep.
And then Laurie Holden, who played Andrea, fucking,
Right.
I thought she was so fucking good. Especially what was it, the first or second episode when the zombies like invade like the little like mobile homes or something like that, and her sister dies. That whole scene where she's like crying over her sister and like she like turns into a zombie like in her arms. Fucking like everyone in that first fucking season like knocked it out. And it's still great. And they had people in further seasons that I absolutely loved and hated to see go.
But this was the perfect.
I thought this was just the fucking like perfect one. Like if you were to watch any Walking, like if they would have for some reason had to like, you know, bookend season 1, like I think that would have been like the best one season only show.
It felt like that actually when it ended. It felt like.
Well, I think Frank Darabont's fucking like I wish he could have done more
Right.
with The Walking Dead, but then there was that whole controversy, like some shit happened and AMC didn't agree.
Right.
But goddamn, did he leave his mark on that fucking show? One of the best pilots like in the fucking world, like, you know.
Yeah, and he's great at building ensemble. I mean, The Mist is right. That's an amazing,
It's
like,
fucking great.
collection of performances that.
He's so fucking good, and I don't know the first season of The Walking Dead. I thought like the chemistry between everyone, fucking on point. I don't know. I just
So to qualify for the question, what are the two standout performances? It's Andrew Lincoln and.
Andrew Lincoln and John Bernthal.
Okay. And define like the great acting. Is it great?
Well, it's because it's sort of like not good cop, bad cop, but like even though Shane kind of is a shithead, he was still good friends with Rick.
Right.
So it was just it was seeing like what used to be a really strong friendship start to tear apart.
Nice. Yeah.
Slowly and slowly. And the way they ended up, you know, tearing the whole thing apart was just
Right.
fucking great. And Shane's character in general, he just looks badass. So
Right.
like you want him on your side, but like the questionable things he starts to do, the more the show went on, you're sort of like, man, like don't do that. Like just be like the cool fucking dude, you know.
Right. Totally.
It's just so fucking well done. Like I don't know. I've watched some of the other seasons and I think they're fantastic too, but I just don't see anything topping.
Well, that's one of the amazing things was you know, I've seen a lot of zombie things. I was not familiar with the comic book beforehand, right? So, I noticed when I started watching it that I was immediately in a world, and you can't do that without great acting. Right?
No.
Like I wasn't questioning that I was there. I wasn't questioning was it real. I wasn't like I was totally in the situation with the people, and you know there were complexities to how the situations where they were in. Where are they going to turn on each other? Are they going to trust each other? Are going to and like I was in all the way. Like I wasn't like if you take an example of bad acting in a survival circumstance.
Yeah.
I think about like the Night of the Demons remake, right? With Edward Furlong and the gang and whatever. And they're like trapped in the house and like whatever. But, you know, there's these scenes where are they going to turn on each other or they're not? And you don't believe it at all.
Yeah.
Like, you know where the plot's going to take you. You know probably who's going to die in what order, right? And you don't care about what they're really saying to each other, except for how is this going to set up the next kill, right?
Yeah.
But Walking Dead was the reverse of that. Like you were okay with them talking and interacting before the kills came because it was interesting because
They just totally set up that whole show.
Yep.
And they knocked out of the park.
Yeah. Good choice.
It's so good. Great fucking cast.
Solid.
All right, what do you got for me?
So standout performances. This is so amazing to me because I haven't seen this movie in a little bit. I've watched it quite a few times, and then I was thinking of two performances when I said it. And then literally right before we started recording, I realized there's a third amazing performance in this movie that I didn't even remember at all. So like bonus, right? So Shadow of a Doubt is an Alfred Hitchcock movie. It was actually, I think, his self-proclaimed favorite. Like they asked Hitchcock what his favorite or best movie was. And this is the one he named. One of the things I like about this is the two performances that I was thinking about are Joseph Cotten as Uncle Charlie and Teresa Wright as young Charlie. So you have two people playing two characters with the same name. And they're sort of twinned up in the plot. Like
Gotcha.
They have sort of the same things going on with each other. They have sort of the same questions about life, except for he's like a older psychopath and she's not. But there's a thing that happens, you know, even when you're young and innocent, if you're smart and you're a complicated person, you have questions about things in life. And you can tell he had those same questions and he found totally different answers that she's never going to find. But when they're interacting with each other, it's so creepy watching a nice version and an evil version of the same personality interact with each other.
Yeah.
Right. And you know, he's just inherently an amazing actor. She's an amazing actress, but like there's a scene where they meet in a restaurant and he's trying to sort of convince her that life is a lot darker and more negative than she's willing to grant. And while they're talking to each other, they're not doing a lot with their faces, but like it's one of the creepiest just talking scenes I've ever seen. And a lot of it is how Hitchcock has staged it, but a lot of it is just how they're acting it.
Yeah.
Because I honestly think that the Joseph Cotten decided he's going to throw himself into this part, and it was like he was really trying to convince her, the actress, what he was saying.
He went through the film.
He went all the way, right? And it's it's a dynamic, like, you know, part. But the great thing is, like, as a bonus to me is fucking Hume Cronin, who's a legendary actor, is also in this movie, just giving an incredible performance off to the side. Like he's barely in the plot, and he's like stealing almost every scene he's in.
Yeah.
And you know, the fact that this movie has two performances in the middle of it that are so great that you don't even remember there's other great actors in it was like, wow, that's like
Quit stealing the show.
totally quality, like, you know. So that, I mean, and then the thing that's amazing to me about like where this heads is, you know, at the end of it all, they end up, young Charlie and old Uncle Charlie end up struggling on a train, and he has to sell her on that he's not going to hurt her, and you know that he's going to hurt her.
Yeah.
And it's I mean, I can't even imagine how complicated this is as an actor, but it's the first time in the movie where he's trying to sell her on something that she's not buying from the start. She knows she's in trouble. She knows he's going to hurt her. And what that means is he has to act it in a way where I'm going to sell you something that you've been buying for the last hour and a half of this movie. I'm going to say it in the exact same way. I'm going to use the exact same facial expressions, and I'm going to tweak it just a hair so that I can give you the ability to be like, wait, something's not right here. And then she's like, wait, something's not right here. I'm not buying this. And I don't know what he adjusted, but that's fucking amazing acting to be able to do it exactly the same you've been doing it and just turn the knob like a quarter notch. Oh, amazing. So
Work of art.
work of art.
That's wonderful. All right. So now
What's your next?
This is a film that I just enjoy talking about, but there's this weird. Okay, so it's the Babadook. I feel like the mom fucking
You sound a little defensive. Let it out.
killed it. I know people are gonna say shit. I read this on fucking Reddit, like whenever people talk about this movie.
Right. We all know the mom killed it.
We know the mom fucking knocked it out of the park,
Right.
but they always fucking criticize Noah Wiseman, who is the little actor dude who plays her son.
Yes.
Now, I think he's fucking great.
Okay.
I think he's great, and the reason why is because if he was to act any, I'm trying to think of it. So if he was to act like not as fucking crazy as he would, there's no fucking way he would have drove the mom mad where she needed to go for her character.
Right.
I thought everything he fucking did was completely fucking justified. All they talked about was the kid's so annoying. The kid's so annoying. Yeah.
Point.
That great. That's what they went for. Like he's supposed to be annoying. He's supposed to be this little shit.
Right.
Who the mom's seen all this crazy fucking weird stuff dealing, with her own, personal demons. And then on top of that, she has to deal with this fuck in the back, kicking her seat, always screaming and all this other shit. That, and even before he starts acting crazy, he's fucking adorable.
Right.
In the beginning, when he's doing the magic trick, he's like, look at my hands, poof, does a magic trick. I'm like, oh, that's adorable. He's doing magic tricks. And I just think he's
so he got adorable, right? And then he got super annoying,
he
right?
went from adorable, doing magic tricks, being a kid,
right,
to like annoying, like what the fuck's wrong with the kid? Like why is he acting like that? And then to really fucking annoying, like kicking the back thing. And I even thought the scene in the treehouse when the girls are like making fun of him for his dad not being around, and he like fucking like kicks the girl out of the treehouse. I thought his scene, like having like kids do a scene like that with like some pretty heavy acting and some some action in it, to have the girl fucking kicked out, to have those child actors like be able to do that in a convincing way,
right?
Fucking like that's not easy,
right?
That's not easy. How do you fucking tell that? Well, one, that's just a testament to how great they were as actors. The fucking director, she went up to him and was like, here's your motivation. This is the reason you're doing that. Right. They fucking did it. So he went from cute to slightly annoying to really annoying. And then at the end, when so the mom like goes fucking crazy, and she has that whole scene where she like yells at the kid like, I don't love you and all that stuff, and he's like, Mom, I just want you to love me. Like that fucking scene right there. I remember like me, Alex, and I we got misty off of that scene. We're like, holy fucking shit! Like that's a powerful fucking scene. Like the fucking like the mother like just basically saying like, I don't want you, just like that, and the kid being like, No, you don't get you don't get to choose. You don't get to make that choice. Like you fucked up.
Right.
Such a powerful fucking scene that I get chills from. And then at the end when she confronts the Babadook and she's holding her son, like that fucking still. You show me still that I get fucking chills when she's just fucking yelling at the fucking Babadook, holding her, because the way she's like holding her kid, she got holding him here and a hand on his head, and just fucking like the rage in her fucking face. Like both those fucking people like deserve so much more fucking credit.
Well, and so this is interesting too, because like I think one of the things that's actually acting rather than just being in a movie is when you can reverse the progress of something. Like that movie was about bonding, and then they were getting less and less close as a mom and a son. Their bonding was splitting. It was, the glue was weakening, right?
Yeah.
And then they're so bonded at the end.
Yeah, at the end, like, they're just like, he's dancing and all that other shit, and then she goes to give the monster some milk.
Right? Right.
Or whatever the fuck she gave him.
Right, which is pretty amazing that they could take, like you think about like, everyone talks about like what a great actor Jack Nicholson is. Like he's amazing, right? But like his trajectory in The Shining is normal-ish. Crazy, crazier, crazy, Jack Nicholson, crazy. Right? Like that's his. I mean, it's just heading in one direction, right?
And like
this kid is adorable, crazy, and then like sort of centered and bonded at the end, right? Like,
and like you brought up a good point when you were just talking about the Hitchcock film. He just took the notch and went just a little bit above what he should in terms of crazy. Those two as actors, they had to start at fucking 0. Go to 1, go to 3, go to 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, then fucking beginning of third act, crank that motherfucker to 11, and then they had to like hold it there for a minute and then just whip that motherfucker back to 0. Like nothing was.
And plus, I can't. I mean, I could be totally wrong about this, but I can't imagine it's super easy to do something that there's not a lot of examples to rip off from. Like I can't. I can think of tons of, friends, groups of friends. father son like things in horror movies, but mother son in horror movies, like when I think about mother son combination in horror movies, there's not a lot. Like there's not a lot of great acted examples of those things that come to mind, right? So like you're sort of plowing newish ground, and you know they did an amazing job, because if you just walked up to me right now and said, name a mother-son combination in a horror movie, I would have said the Babadook. And before we started talking.
The other thing is just talking about like the crazy moms in general. Like the famous example is, you know, people always say Mrs. Voorhees, or I think the best choice is Carrie's mom. Mm-hmm. She's just always at 11.
Right.
You never see her like at like a 1. Like there's always something there, you know what I mean? There's always something fucked up with her. But what the Babadook did is they were like, well, let me show you what it would have been like at 1 and then 11,
right?
But then they brought it back down, and I fucking like, that's the thing with horror films. I'm such a sucker for the happy endings. Like, and the fact that the Babadook took the relationship and like didn't completely like fuck it up or kill one of them or lose one of them, something terrible happened, and they were able to take it, stretch it as far as it could without breaking, and then let it, you know, band back together.
Right.
Just fucking perfect, man. Like, I think everything about that fucking film was great.
I think the Babadook's a pretty good actor himself.
The Babadook was great. He was great author.
Great author. Hopefully
we'll have him on the show to talk about his book, the sequel to the
his
Babadook
book signing tour. Yeah.
Babadook 2, even dookier.
Perfect. Yeah, please come on. That sounds amazing. No, I think that's a great choice. I think like that's the thing is like it's almost iconic now. Like when you think of underground horror, you think Descent. Like when you think of fast zombies, you think of 28 Days Later. And when you think of like parental issue horror, at least right now, like that's got to be one of the first things that comes.
Also, if you think about it, like, you know, all of those have like really great locations. You know, they're like 20 Days Later, they're running around London. Descent, they're in these really cool underground caves. But like the great thing about Babadook is it's at home,
right?
Which a lot of people are at home, and there's a lot of problems at home. And it just, I don't know. I think the fact that it takes place, you know, where you sleep, where you have dinner,
right?
I don't know. I think that makes it more relatable. Because, you know, it's in an environment that, you know, most people are familiar with.
That's a great point.
And the fact that you're there and the terror is at your home makes it even fucking.
Yeah, I don't think that's coincidental that a lot of, you know, the great acting in The Exorcist is similarly situated, right? And that's part of the impact of that on you. Like I wasn't personally one of those people who, when you saw the spider walk clip that wasn't in the original Exorcist, where I was like, oh, they should have left that in. That's so scary, like whatever. Because I didn't find it that scary. But what I did find scary was that it was happening on the staircase they use every day to go up and down and
there's no way you go up those stairs and get the fucking willies.
It just looked like it's out of place in your home, right? Which gives it more impact. So I think that's a great point about.
Because then you don't feel. I mean, that's like the shittiest thing that could ever happen to someone, is to not feel safe, like in their own home,
right?
And I think the Babadook did that very well.
Well, and that was the other thing. It was
designed really well too.
It was. I mean,
colors
just
of the
executed well. But like, I remember walking out of it thinking that like I better deal with emotional issues if they come up. You can't let those get out of hand. And like if you've got me thinking like, you know, like, don't let your emotional demons run out of hand. Like when you walk out of a movie, that means that you really felt like something
fucking resonated with
right.
you.
Something resonated, but you also, or you just have problems, but something resonated with you, but you also, they had to make you believe it. They had to trick you into believing they were real people to have that kind of impact on you walking out.
Yeah.
And that you only do that. Great acting.
That's right. That's right. And all the haters for the kid. Screw you, Pikachu. He was good.
Tweet Nick at whatever Nick's Twitter.
Doesn't matter. Just like the Halloweekly page. You'll be fine. All right. So what do you got for me?
All right. So next up in the great acting department, I'm gonna shortcut this one. I feel like this should be like a 3-episode thing, but don't
worry. We got about 6 minutes to wrap.
Yeah, I'm gonna really briefly hit this one. So because it has to be said in this place. So there's an amazing movie called Possession. It was made in 1981. The director, I think, recently passed away, sadly. But this stars Sam Neill, who's underrated as a horror movie actor in general, and Isabella Johnny. And the reason that this is going in this category is because not only there are two standout performances and only two standout performances in this one, but I firmly believe that this performance by the actress is the bravest performance that's ever been given in a horror film, bar none. Like, I can't even imagine how she stripped her soul and her personality out to do this movie. Like, like she, whatever, like, I don't know, the process is like whatever, but all of it, the horror of it had to fall on her, right? The movie's amazingly staged, amazingly shot, but it does her no favors because the only horrible things that happen in the movie happen involving her, or she's on the screen, or it's something that's so ridiculous that if you weren't being sold this amazing acting, the ridiculous would stand out and the whole movie would fall apart. So everything's on her shoulders to carry this thing. Right? It's one of my favorite horror movies of all time, and she pulls it off. And I'm not a student of acting, so I can't do this justice. But when you watch the movie, like, whatever micro expressions are, that's what's happening with her in this movie. Like, literally, she's in one scene in a kitchen having an argument with her husband that she's separating from, and I'll be damned if there aren't 30 emotions that go across her face in like a minute flat. Like, but not like as an acting exercise, but just as that's what that person in that situation would be feeling if they were going through this. It's just most people can't portray that to you, and she did, because she was like all in all the way through the other side. I'm going to kill myself doing this part.
I remember one of the scenes you showed me was her like in a subway tunnel or something. She was like under a bridge, and she just fucking goes to town.
Yep, totally. Absolutely goes to town. And that's the thing is, like, there's also really, really quiet scenes, and
so it's not just her being crazy.
But that's the amazing part is, so the ending of this movie, because she's playing two parts actually, which is, not only is she nailing one, she's nailing two parts, right? But at the end of this movie, there's a really, really amazing scene on a staircase where everything's sort of getting resolved. And she, I don't want to spoil the movie for people who haven't seen it, but there's a moment where she sees Sam Neill coming, and you would be so lucky as a human being that if you were heading somewhere and you were meeting someone and they looked at you and they had the expression on their face that she has when she sees him, you'd be like, wow, I have found my soulmate, right? But she knows while that's happening that this is not going to end well at all. And then literally 30 seconds later, one of the most horrible things I've ever seen happen on a screen happens. And the transition is flawless from like this happy, I just got you the most amazing birthday present ever facial expression to one of the most horrible things anyone ever does. And at no moment is it not believable. And that's not even the end of the movie, because the other character she's playing lives, and the movie ends on the shot of her face, and it's so haunting that the movie doesn't need anything else. Like, there are things that are hinted at that are happening behind her, and you're not even looking at them. You're looking at her process them, and it's more powerful than if the director,
because you're trying to read.
Right, exactly.
What she's thinking.
Right, but that's when I think of amazing acting. Like, the director could have Michael Bay'd it and spent $1 million and shown you an apocalypse in the sky, or he could have flashed a couple of flashlights in a hallway and told her, you're looking at an apocalypse. And that will fail 99.9% of the time, unless it's her.
Yeah.
Because you see the apocalypse on her face. This gives me chills just thinking about it now. So yeah, definitely. I wanted to just have this one in there because it's exactly two performances, which is what our question asked, and
which is wonderful. All right, so that's about all the time we have Well, we have a lot more, and I just want to throw out one more.
Yes.
One more, real quick, for an ensemble.
Yes.
Perfect acting all around. I'm gonna go with the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
That's a great choice.
And I'm gonna go with it.
See that coming.
Some people can say like, oh yeah, well, some of the acting's bad. The whole fucking movie knows what the fuck it's doing. So you could have walked in there and be like, hi, my name's Nick. I'm gonna show on the floor. I'm in the Rocky Horror Picture Show, and people be like, great, welcome to the movie. Thank you for being here. We're excited to have you. Let's dance. Do you know the time warp?
Yeah, that's what movie
no.
is, yeah.
We'll just jump to the left. I just think first of all, Tim Curry, fucking dead giveaway.
Totally.
Susan Sarandon, dead fucking giveaway.
Right.
Fucking Barry Bostwick. Wasn't he in Just Shoot Me or Spin City?
That I don't
He was
know.
in one of those fucking. I think he was in one of those sitcoms with Michael J. Fox, and I remember like, I like that guy. I don't know why. I was really young. I was just like, I think that guy's great in whatever he's in.
Right.
So yeah, but we don't have enough time to go into it. But
Well, and I do want to know, since we're extending this into other episodes, we'll probably throw this on our social media. So if people want to let us know their answer to horror movies with 2 or more great performances, and the more the better. We're looking for huge ensemble things as well.
and also we're not, and I'm gonna do some more research. We're not just sticking it to film.
Correct.
So TV. Well, I mean, obviously, because I kicked it off with The Walking Dead, but
Yes.
if there's anyone in like a Twilight Zone episode, Tales from the Crypt episode, even fucking like any fucking like horror show,
Yep.
fucking
TV or
bring it on.
any of your personal holiday parties, like when you're acting like your
Yeah,
relatives.
upload a photo and put them on Front Street. Be like, this fucker here.
Some great acting in the
Yeah,
anything you got, send it to us.
anything. Alrighty, it is that time again for one of my favorite segments that we call Killer Questions.
That's perfect.
I love it.
I love it too.
So this is where we post a question on our Facebook page, and the wonderful fans at the Halloweekly page give us some answers.
Or keep giving us answers and never stop. This was amazing. So
This was a good one.
We posed the question: name a horror movie not considered to be very good that you like. Mm-hmm. And we're running on 120 responses right now. And I'm going to go through some of the highlights. There were some repeats. There were some amazing choices here that we never even thought of. So we definitely got quite a few Jason X. We got...
That's on that.
I bet. We got Jeepers Creepers, Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake, Paul D.
There was a few remakes though for Texas
There
Chainsaw.
were.
There was like the beginning, and then like the 3D, and then they do like a sequel to the remake.
Probably.
I think there was like 2 or 3.
That timeline's been blown to hell. I don't know.
I have no fucking clue.
I don't know who's where anymore.
I don't even know.
They did quite well. This is actually the only one that came up on this one. So Paul D threw us Halloween 4, The Gallows, Dead Silence. Demian warmed my heart by saying Jaws 2, one of my favorites. Mm-hmm. Matt B came up with Dreamcatcher and Thinner. Let's see. Jessica likes Birdemic, Shock and Terror. Total guilty pleasure. Chris M put in Blackula. Nice job. Gregorio put in House 1986. Tyler likes the House of Wax remake. Tyler, we love you.
I like a few scenes, like when the guy is sticking his hand through the like sewer or the little hole in the ground. The guy snips him off with the lawn scissors.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
I like that. That's the thing, man. Paris Hilton ruined that fucking movie. Sorry, like
Not having Vincent Price ruined that fucking movie.
yeah, I don't know. I enjoyed it when I watched it.
Yeah, I mean it's just pure, like
I think Blockbuster was
Stale
around,
popcorn.
and I rented it, and I watched it, and I was like,
I can still picture the cover. That was pretty effective. The artwork for that was. Ian put in My Soul to Take. Josh put in Planet Terror. Horror movie?
yeah. I'd say because Rodriguez is because Planet Terror was Rodriguez's part, and it was like the zombie thing in the hospital, like Josh Brolin and all that. That's horror.
Okay, straight up.
That's horror.
Latifah was digging on Leprechaun. Jordan likes Urban Legends Final Cut. Nice choice, actually.
Urban Legends.
This was a good movie.
Final Cut, huh?
Jeffrey threw out a whole list. Toolbox Murder, Omen the Final Conflict, Predator 2, From Beyond. From Beyond's pretty well regarded, no? And John Carter. And then...
John Carter? What's that doing on
Are
a...
you and Jeffrey going to fight?
No. That was a really shit movie. I just don't know if that's... You know what, though? I'll say it was a horrible decision for them to make that movie. So, no, that's fine.
Nick's on
That's completely fair.
Nick's on record. We got Life Force, John Carpenter's Prince of Darkness, Tommy Knockers, which I've never seen. I read, but never saw it. Manhunter, which I think is pretty well regarded, too. We got Nightbreed and Rawhead Rex from Bruce. Sonia said American Psycho 2. I didn't even know that existed.
Oh, yeah. No. That's terrible. That's terrible. That's one that she liked.
Yeah. That's a... Yes.
All right.
She's straight,
all right.
She's straight
I
up.
don't know. I can't sit here and be like, they like that one, and be like, well, let me tell you about Jason X.
Hunter likes The Bride of Chucky. Dana likes Pumpkinhead 2, Blood Wings. Kills me what those kids did to Tommy.
I like that title.
Poor Tommy. Yeah, that's good.
That sounds like a title like that you would hear like if they had to like make up some dialogue for the two kids in Fright Night to be talking about their favorite movie. That sounds like a made up movie title that they'd be like, oh yeah, Pumpkinhead 2. Fuck Wings or something.
Pumpkinhead 2, Fuck Wings. I love it. Maximum Overdrive got some love. I think the most liked single comment on the whole thing was Killer Clowns from Outer Space or the movie Rubber, the Killer Tire.
Oh, you know what's funny though? I remember there used to be like Blockbuster, and then there was like Family Video back in Ohio. I don't know if those went across the country. But what's funny, every time you say Rubber, I think of the movie called Killer Condom. Have you ever heard of this movie?
No, I have not.
If I remember the cover correctly, I think it was like a condom with like razor sharp teeth. It's almost like the male version of the movie Teeth.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh no,
that'd be a good, creature double feature.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Killer Condom and Teeth. No one's safe.
They did a remake of that. It was like Killer Condom 2, Fuck Wings. Blair Witch 2, speaking of 2, Blair Witch 2 got a little bit of love.
Which, there's a YouTuber who I've mentioned all the time, Good Bad Flicks. He did a like a little video, his exploring series where he talks about good, bad movies, and Blair Witch 2 came up there, and he's like, this movie could have been really good, but I think a bunch of producers really screwed the pooch on that one. So it's kind of a shame.
Yeah, a lot of potential there.
Yeah, a lot of potential, but producers know best.
No way. So we got Halloween 3 a bunch of times, which I think Nick has a thought on in a little bit. We got Night of the Demons 1988. Sleepaway Camp. Jamie put in The Village. And
that's what did I watch? I was watching something yesterday about how the marketing really fucked the Village for
promising something that
they marketed that as like a creature feature, but really it was like a romance kind of film set in this weird fucking time. but yeah, I think I agree with that one. I liked it.
Yeah,
and Roger Deakins shot the hell out of it.
Yeah. We got Dead Snow, Red versus Dead. We got Ethan Likes the Boy, and then we got like 15 Sharknadoes. That's a lot of Sharknadoes.
That's a lot of Sharknadoes, and a lot of Sharknadoes, but one thing's killing.
Yes.
Come on.
No, but there were some really, really good ones in there. We really appreciate the feedback and the enthusiasm. That's awesome. That's why we're even building the segment. So keep the comments coming. We love it. And then we decided we were going to
We have a few things. We have a few
What would
bones.
we have said to our own question?
Yeah. So we one thing I got to get out of the way first off is I know a lot of people mention Halloween 3, but I've seen it mentioned so many times. When people say like, "Hey, what's a bad reviewed horror film that you really like?" Halloween 3's come up so many times. I think it's worked its way out of the bad category. Like, fuck what, like, if you look it up right now on Rotten Tomatoes, I'm sure it has a shit review and all that other fucking stuff. But that doesn't matter. It's whenever you talk about to horror fans, which is really the only demographic it matters to, because they're the only people who give a shit about it.
Right.
They always say, "Oh yeah, I guess it's really not that bad." Like if you take out the fact that you're not going to get any Michael Myers, like it's fine. I think Halloween 3 has, and see, I'm so passionate, my voice cracks when I say it.
Yes.
I think it's worked its way out of the bad category. I think it's now in the like classic. We can do this because now like when you think about you hear the "Have a Happy Halloween," Silver Shamrock, like it's I first of all I fucking love it. Right. They give a shout out to Dayton, Ohio in the movie.
Right.
I just don't think it's as bad as people remember it.
Well, while you were talking, I Googled it, and the top Google entry is Wikipedia. Number 2 is IMDb, and number 3 is an article titled "How Halloween 3 Went from Reviled to Revered in 30 Years."
There we go.
There you go.
There we go. So I'm gonna say it for everyone that Halloween 3 is no longer a bad film.
This is not a guilty pleasure film anymore.
It's okay. It's a great film. All right.
Right.
Put it right next to Nightmare on Elm Street. Go for it. Fuck it. Why not?
Why not?
Why not? Though I will say, if there were, because there's more than enough Halloween films to go around. If we were to have a film that we would consider bad that we all love, we had one mention of Halloween 4, but I'm gonna go with 5, The Curse of Michael Myers, with the Paul Rudd and the last appearance of fucking old detective guy,
Donald Pleasance.
Yep, right there.
And why?
Well, first off, the whole fucking movie kicks off, at Halloween, as it should.
Yes.
Given the title. No, I love the if you don't like it for the acting or the storyline or anything like that, I think the set decks and like just the way the world's set up, being from Ohio, like it feels like the Midwest Halloween, like people are decorating their houses, there's orange leaves all over the place. Like when I watch that movie, it takes me like right there, and it's sort of the same reason why I really like Trick or Treat, because it feels like Halloween when you watch that film. So I think it at least gets the setting.
It takes you
right.
somewhere.
Yeah, it takes you somewhere.
Right.
The weird cult shit in the beginning and like all that other bullshit kind of stuff that I do think is kind of boring. It doesn't really bother me. It still I still think it's a pretty enjoyable movie, and AMC certainly likes to show it a lot during
Yes, they do.
during Halloween, and Netflix seems to only want to have that one up. So,
Right.
So no, I think if we were to, I think we should all replace Halloween 3 with 5 or 4, according to some of the fans.
What's the worst Halloween? What's the Halloween that doesn't take you anywhere?
What was the one? I think we talked about it with like Busta Rhymes, and like they all put cameras on each other.
The reality TV one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one kind of sucks.
Yeah, that's...
Isn't that the one where you see Michael like roll up in like a Lincoln Town car?
Well, they were trying to do with that what Wes Craven did with New Nightmare, sort of, right? Except for Wes Craven's a genius, and I don't know who did that one, but they're not. Right.
I would say that was H2O, right?
No, H2O is actually one that I like, and H2O is the one where, spoiler, Jamie Lee kind of closes it out and kills Michael in the end, right?
Gotcha.
So she's got her son, and it's the one with LL Cool J as the security guard in the booth. And it's like, I feel like that one is pretty effective. I mean, nothing compares to the first two. Minus 3, but I mean, you're not gonna catch lightning in a bottle like that again. But it's kind of a return to the creepy, unexplainable Michael. There's something going on between him and his sister in that one, where no matter what you say in words, like, you did this or you did that, it's more in the looks and the body language and the just relentless, like wherever you go, I'm going to appear right there.
Yeah.
Like it was pretty effective. Not amazing, but not
then
terrible.
I think the rest of them are easy to have on the TV during Halloween. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah,
Like
totally.
the month of October, like any of the others, you can just have on the television in the background, and it's like AO fucking K.
Absolutely. Right.
All right. So okay.
Yes.
There's the tangent on Halloween 3. I think everyone feels good about it now.
Yes.
There's a sigh of relief, if you
we,
will.
We can all, we've done his intervention. Now everyone knows.
So everyone feels good. I'll send you a bill. And so, okay, so you and I both have, I sort of mentioned mine's Jason X, but I'll go about that in a little bit.
Yeah.
But you have one that we talked about that, go ahead and just throw it out there.
All right. I'm just going to lay it out there. So Evil Dead Remake is good. That's all there is to it. I'm sorry, Rotten Tomatoes and Metacritic and all, like whatever. It's not perfect. It's got some flaws and but there's a couple things about the hating on Evil Dead Remake that just blow my mind right
What
off.
were some of the things that people said they didn't like about it? Like,
I mean, people
grind your gears.
they were saying the characters are generic. It lacked the inventiveness. It wasn't funny. It wasn't scary. It was too bloody.
I loved how much blood was in it.
Right. Like, and I get all of that, but there's a couple weird things going on at the baseline of this argument before we get into the specifics of the film, right? What the fuck other remakes are we talking about here? Like, how can you take Amityville Horror Remake or Nightmare on Elm Street Remake and Evil Dead Remake and then hate on that one? It kept most of the spirit of the original one.
Well, it also kept Bruce Campbell and Sam Raimi producing it.
Right. Of course. And then, I mean, it kept, it stayed as true as you could to the original while not doing total fan service the whole time, right?
Star Wars.
Right. What other remakes are we comparing this to or we get to hate on this one? Like, it's a fucking miracle it's not those, right?
Yeah.
That it's just what it is, right? And then on top of that, like, I feel like there's this unbelievable confusion between original Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2.
Yeah.
Right? Original Evil Dead, this is the remake of the original. When you're saying this wasn't funny and inventive, you're thinking of Evil Dead 2. This isn't the remake of Evil Dead 2. This is the remake of Evil Dead 1, which is pretty grim and pretty, relentless and bleak and not particularly funny. And super claustrophobic, and that's what this is, right? Like, I mean,
They weren't pulling the same jokes in Army of Darkness as they were the Evil Dead.
right. Wait for them to remake Evil Dead 2, and then when they remake that one, if it isn't funny, then hate on it. But this is not what this is, right? So I get all that, and there's some things like so you saw this in the theater, right?
Yeah, Alex and I, in fact, I remember seeing it, and I think the way we saw it helped me enjoy the movie more, because we were back in my hometown, Springfield, Ohio, and Alex and I went on like $5 Wednesday to go see the Evil Dead, and like it was just a really fun day for me. Like obviously I remember it clearly. Like, it was a rainy day. We went to the theater, and it was like a few weeks into its run, and it was like us and probably like 4 or 6 other people like in the theater, and seeing it in an empty theater, like, I think helped the vibe of the movie. And I don't know, I thought it did suspense really fucking well. And the thing is like, when you think of the Evil Dead and like Sam Raimi's like that kind of stuff, it's usually just a bunch of chop zooms, Dutch angles, and a fuck ton of blood.
Right. And
that's exactly what we got.
Right.
And I was happy.
Right.
I was so happy. In fact, I was just thinking of some of the scenes, like the scene where I forget all the characters' names, but the one girl has the nail gun, and just hearing the nail gun go off, you're like, every fucking time, every time that motherfucker went off, like it hurt me inside. I'm like, oh
and
my
it
god,
speeds up, right? Like, it starts with that deliberate like, and then the demon just goes nuts with this gun, and all of a sudden it's just like, and the character who started all this bullshit, the guy who read from the Necronomicon, he literally holds up his hand. He's getting nails in his arm and his hand, and he's just like, stop, because it's sped up so fast now, and he's just getting annihilated with this gun, right? Because and the sound of the effects are like that's one of the most amazing things about this movie to me was the sound design and the practical effects.
Yeah.
Right. Just from a remake, it's so easy to not get to even try to do those things.
And that's one of the things people would normally bitch about. Like I'm a huge fan of CGI and practical. Like I love it both. But a lot of people, if you replace it with CGI, then they hop on the bitch train and they're like, "Fuck this and that." That film did a lot of practical stuff, and it still got a little bit of hate.
Yep.
And I'm like, guys, they gave you like literally almost everything but like the kitchen sink. Like, what else did you want from this movie? And I just thought the way they did, like even some of like just like the visual, I don't want to call them gags because there's nothing really too funny about it, but like some of the gags I would call them, just like when she was in the shower and the fucking water just went from like hot to hotter to fucking boiling, and her skin starts to bubble up. I thought that was such a cool fucking shot. And then when the guy gets like the needle like underneath his cheek and he pulls it out, so much cool fucking shit. It did have some funny parts I thought was funny. Because I think 2 people throughout the film get their hand cut off. Yes. Isn't that right?
Yes.
And in my head, I'm like...
Well, one chops her own hand off. The other one pulls her own hand off, which was an amazing
And
effect.
in my head, I was thinking like, okay, so like... Because and I'm sure the audience did this too. I hope I'm not the only one. But I was trying to place like, okay, so who's Ash in this setup? And they pulled a quick one on me because one person gets their hand chopped off. You're like, oh... Right. Okay, that happened in the first one. That's going to be like the next Ash. And then another motherfucker gets their arm. Yep. And that's hilarious.
And that's who it actually is, right.
And it's so fucking hilarious that like that.
Totally.
That's how they trick you. Is like, normally it's like, oh, okay, like they would do something completely different with the writing, but they're like, no, we're just going to chop off a bunch of hands. you
decide.
You figure the fuck out who it is. And even just like the amount of gore, like at the end when she has the chainsaw and she like, makes, like shoves it through the deadite's face. The amount of blood just like fucking going on. It's like, it's raining blood, blood spewing everywhere. Like it's the best fucking finale in the world.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal. And that's the thing is like, but we got to talk about this because the elephant in the room is horror fans keep saying over and over again, like when you ask a horror fan what movie scares you, there's this chunk of horror fandom that's like nothing scares me. I'm desensitized to all those. If you're desensitized to Evil Dead the remake, like if you sit through that, and I heard that like all over the place, it's not scary, right? And I get that, like that's if you didn't get scared, then you feel like the movie failed you, whatever. But if you're desensitized to that level of violence. That's about us.
Homegirl ripping her cheek open.
Right. That's about us. That's not about the filmmaker, right? That's like, and that's the thing is like when, if you break it down into, all right, what can a horror movie do really, really well? Well, one thing a horror movie can do well is hint to you something that's horrible that you're not seeing. Yeah. Right. So, and there's a lot of movies like The Haunting gets away with that for the whole movie. Like you never see anything. And you see the house, the walls breathing and knocking and like, nothing. Yeah. Nothing, right? And it's still scary as hell, but they decide they're going to show you zero, right? A lot of low budget horror films will show you things in darkness because they don't want to show you what the set really looks like behind the shot, right? Because this movie gives you a scene where the book predicts that someone's going to scrape off their own face. Yeah. And then this movie gives you a scene where you hear her scraping off her own face, but you can't see it. Yeah. And it's horrifying. The sound is horrifying.
There was a guy.
And then it gives you the scene of her scraping her face off. It gave you all three. Like it didn't hide, right? Like exactly. It did it all the way through. But it didn't cheat. It wasn't like go around the corner, jump scare, someone scraping their face off. It took its time. It did it the way some horror movies did it, and then it added on the way it wanted to do it because it's got attitude.
And I fucking love it for that reason. Some guy on YouTube was like, "Oh, the book just showed what's going to happen. Spoilers. Now we know what's going to happen, and it's not scary." But to me, if the book's like, "Hey, by the way, this girl's going to scrape her face off, and then she's going to try to kill another guy," I'm gonna be like, "Oh, okay." But then it happens. I'm like, shit, they weren't fucking with us.
Well, that is a thing, and I have to admit, because this is not a perfect movie. There are parts, obviously, of it that bother me, but like, there's a thing that happens where it does take you a little bit out of the movie of how stupid the characters are in their actions for some of the time, right? But one of the interesting points of this movie to me was, like, most movies with this generation of people in it, they just feel dead in the water because these people have no energy.
Yeah.
Right. So this movie at least managed to be energetic with that generation in it, which is not easy to do.
I also really liked the one thing we didn't mention was the reason why they went to the cabin in the first place.
Yes.
Which I really liked.
Yes.
Because the first one,
it was less random than the first one.
Yeah, random one's like, hey, we got this cabin, we're gonna go there. This one, it's a like a.
You've given them a reason not to leave.
Exactly. They want their sister. It was one sister had a drug addiction, right?
Yes.
It was something like that. So they're all there to like, get her there and try to like, talk the shit.
Right.
Out.
But see, this is one of the amazing things that this movie does, which I think explains, like Cabin in the Woods, like it explains the stupidity of the characters with the worst cheat possible for a movie, right? They're just dumb because we're, hypnotizing them with drugged fog to make them stupid or whatever the hell was happening. Like this one.
I still love that movie.
I know.
You can't stop me.
But here's this thing, right? So she shows up, she dumps the drugs down a well, and she says, she literally says, let's play cold turkey. I'm going to go in this cabin. I'm going to have a withdrawal. I know it's going to be bad. I'm looking down the barrel of a bad weekend, right? But I'm going to do it because I want to be healthy, right? And then she goes in, and all her friends go in. And then the first day withdrawal, the movie cuts to screaming. Right? It's a horror movie. She's screaming, but she's not screaming because she saw anything bad. She's screaming because she's suffering withdrawal. That's what you think is happening, but it's not, because actually, if you pay attention, when they go into the room and they talk to her, she's like, I don't know what's wrong with you people. How would you not smell that? I can't take this smell. So you think, because the movie's so good at bait and switch, you think she's not screaming because something broke into the cabin, right? Which is your first thought in a horror movie. You think she's screaming because of withdrawal, but she's not screaming with withdrawal. Guess what she's screaming from? She's screaming from because she was so drugged out of her mind, she didn't notice the smell. And now that she has no drugs in her system, she's super observant. So she's like, wait, there's something really wrong here. I smell something horrible, right? And then she turns to her friend. She goes, what the fuck is wrong with you people? How do you not see this? Or how do you not smell it, right? And I think what the movie's saying is every one of those people has whatever the thing that keeps them going through life not noticing horrible things. Her thing was drugs.
Yeah.
But she had to give it up. So now she's gotten rid of her thing that prevents her from smelling horrible things.
She's the only one.
She's right.
Yeah,
you got to get out
stuck
of
in a
there.
room, or you're stuck in a cabin with other people who think they know better. And
Right.
Like, oh,
and they think they're doing your best interest by saying, we're not going to let you leave, which is the worst response ever to this situation, right? So it's whatever it is that's preloaded into these people that keep them, ignorant of the bad things that happen around them probably on a daily basis. And the brother who didn't even know that his sister OD'd because he's so absent, right? They just continue to float. Like they're not noticing shit. Here, I just picked up a book bound with human skin. I should read out of this. Like you're an idiot. But you are an idiot.
I would probably read it though.
But that's the point is that's a pretty enticing book, I gotta admit. But that's the thing is I think that's actually the point of the movie. And I think whether you agree with it or not, like it went all in on it. It was brave with it. And it decided, you know what? We are going to send the explicit message that things are not what they seem. The first scene that I love where the girl's running through the woods and they catch her and they tie her to the pillar. And she's like, oh my God, who caught me? What horrible is this? I just want to go home. And then they take the hood off her face and her dad's standing in front of her. And she's like, Daddy, why are you doing this? Right. But she's the demon. Like it's bait and switch. The victim isn't the victim. The victim is the problem.
And I love how they do that. And all of the Evil Dead series, the Deadites do this crazy shit. And all of a sudden they switch.
They turn on a dime and all of a sudden they're like, what are you doing to me? You were here to help me.
Oh, I love that.
Like the random girlfriend in this movie, when the demon lets her go and drops her like a puppet, she all of a sudden she's like damaged beyond repair. And she turns to the main male character and she's like, my face hurts. Why does my face hurt? And it's chilling, right? like that they can just drop you like that, or they're either manipulating it. You know, it's hard to tell sometimes with what's happening there. But anyway,
we like it.
Yeah, that's that's the thing. A lot of horror arguments are subjective, and I respect that they're subjective. You can subjectively decide whether this movie is good or bad, or you enjoyed it, or it scared you or not. But compared to the remakes that we live with in this world in the horror genre, this movie is objectively good.
And the female, or I think the lady who was the drug addict in that film, is also in the same director's newest film, Don't Breathe.
Oh, right. Which is getting amazing buzz.
Yeah, it's getting amazing reviews. And that same girl is in this one. And apparently looks like she's in also another show that he worked on too. So it looks like they roll together. And
she's a great actress. She sold the transition of that character from beaten down but determined to, you know, all the horrible phases that she goes through the movie. I think she was the best actress in the entire movie by far.
And the other thing that I think of is when you talk about like strong female leads in horror, she never comes up.
Yeah, which is odd because she pulled her own hand off. Right.
She went through a lot of shit. So there we go. Halloweekly.
Right. Wait, no, and then the last thing is just so that, like, because the one other major complaint that I heard that for some reason didn't bother me at all, so I just feel like it's got to be addressed, is I get it. The abomination that crawls out at the end is not that fearsome or strange. Like there's something strange going on because it basically it tips over an entire car.
Yeah.
Right. But then when it's crawling through the muck, it's barely defending itself. It's just basically crawling straight towards the chainsaw. Right. So I get that that's a little puzzling to me, whatever. But, you know, the thing is, there's rules that happen behind the scenes that you have to, that the filmmakers are taking into account because they really know this material. If this demon was super physically strong in and of itself all the time, it would never need to possess human beings.
Yeah.
It would just do it. It would just do what it does, right? I feel like it needs to possess human beings because that's, you know, it can gain strength and access through that thing where instead of just crawling around and trying to attack people like it did, right?
Yeah.
And you know, it calls out to her at the end and says, "You're going to die here, you filthy addict." And she's decided,
which is the second time because in the top of the film they're like, "You're all gonna die here tonight." Claps.
Yep. But it actually says you're gonna die, and it calls her out.
Yeah.
You're an addict, right? Like you're flawed. You're never gonna beat me, right? And I think part of why it's so weak is at this point and can get chainsawed like that is because she's decided she's not.
Yeah.
Right. Which is a great message embedded in a horror movie, right? So So I was fine with that, the whole end sequence, because not only was it visually amazing, right, but I think that was the point. So good movie.
And it's such a striking image, raining blood, blood's fucking going everywhere, and then she kind of looks at like her problem and just gives it a big old fuck you right to the face with a chainsaw.
Right.
It's like the ultimate fight, it's like the get off her, you bitch. For the Evil Dead.
Yep.
Which, sure. So that's mine was Jason X, but that explains itself. So we don't need to talk about that. People will be like, "Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
I get it."
That actually got a lot of love on our Facebook page. So that makes total sense.
But anyways, the 2013 remake, Evil Dead. Yeah. Give it another shot. Trust us. It's very good. And if you disagree, then you're wrong. So, sorry. I don't make the rules.
Well, no, if you disagree and you have a reason, let us know. We love reason. So, yeah. And then Jason X, that's the one where it's in space, right?
Yeah. Okay. And I think Cronenberg dies in the beginning. He has a cameo.
No, that just makes it great right off the bat.
Yeah. Exactly. And it's the highest body count. Honestly, so just to make a quick case for Jason X, it was the first Friday the 13th Jason film I ever saw.
Right.
So I had nothing to compare it to.
Right.
So you show me, you tell me there's a guy in a mask killing people. I saw a movie where a guy in a mask went around and killed people. I was happy. It doesn't get better than that.
I don't know. That's the one with the freeze kill, right?
The freeze kill.
Oh, yeah.
Which apparently has been debunked. It doesn't happen that quick. But also, there's no killer in space, so I don't care if it's false. There's a lot of shit that's not true. No, it was the first. It was like, because I remember I bought. It was when Blockbuster was still around. I guess I'm just nostalgic for Blockbuster today. But I was in the 7th grade. It's what kicked off my horror love, and I had bought Jason X along with, funny enough, Army of Darkness.
Oh, nice.
Keeping it tied in.
Yep.
And it also had a great DVD, like not behind the scenes, like mini documentary about like horror. So they talked a lot about Jason. They talked a lot about Freddy, a little bit about Leatherface, and then the disgust that was amongst the masses in the 80s for slasher films.
Right.
So it was
cool.
It was basically about that. So like I'm in 7th grade learning about like these people in the 80s, showing them on like fucking like Sally Jesse's show, going, I think they're disgusting. I think they're gross. And then people are like, it's just a fucking movie. Like, chill the fuck out.
Right.
But anyways, I'm just Jason X.
I find that movie fascinating as a thought experiment. One of the things I really like about Alfred Hitchcock is like he would challenge himself. Like he made a movie called Lifeboat set in a fucking lifeboat.
Yeah.
Like it's not easy to make a feature length film in one location that's like 8 feet long.
Yeah.
Right? With nothing in the background but water. Right. So, and keep it interesting. And sometimes you got to test things. And there are a lot of iconic horror villains who, if you take them out of their typical background, i.e. summer camp and Jason's case,
Yeah.
they're just not going to make it, right? It's not going to work. But
Yeah,
it's really interesting with him because it works. I mean, that's a testament just to how fucking iconic this character is. You could transplant him in a completely new environment.
Exactly.
Right?
And even if you think it's like, you know, if you compare it to, one, you can compare it to the Friday the 13th remake.
No, right.
And I'll go with Jason X.
Right.
But even if if you think it's a shitty film, you can still at least put it into the categories of like Thanksgiving, Sharknado, where it's like it's over the top. Jason in Space is an over top idea,
sure.
But like it's one of those. I think it's just a fun slasher film
Right.
to have,
Right.
Because it's a ridiculous fucking concept, and it's one of those you just put it on like let's just see how this motherfucker works because you know how it's gonna work.
Right.
It's not gonna end well.
No.
I think it's a fun slasher flick. In fact, Jason X is the Friday the 13th equivalent to Halloween 5. Curse of Michael Myers.
You're really bringing it full circle.
That's what I do here at Halloweekly.
That's well done. Well played, sir.
That's how you tie a show together.
That's well done. You know, it totally, as far as I'm concerned, it passes the most important test for this particular question, which is forget what arguments you're making about what's good or bad. When you get home and someone's going to make you rewatch, one of these two things, and Jason X is one of them, it's going to win a lot of the time because you're going to have fun watching it.
Yeah. There's some cool kills in there,
yeah.
Which is all those fucking movies are about. No one's ever like, well, where's the drama in Friday the 13th? Where's the motivation for Jason come from? No one's.
I think we see that.
I don't ever think. I don't know. I was gonna say Kane Hodder, whatever his last name is. Like, director, what's my motivation? Oh, you kill people. Great, thanks.
Thanks for. Actually, I heard an interview with the actor who did the remake, and he had an entire complicated backstory theory behind the motivation why he was doing it. But like, that's the thing is, I think there's no fun to be had in the Friday the 13th remake. Like, it was either going to work on its own terms and scare you, or it wasn't. But it was not going to be a good time.
I will say the way you do have fun with Friday the 13th is that Kane, I saw, went back to do motion capture for the Friday the 13th game, which I've been following extensively on Twitter and Facebook, and even like got some retweets from the devs, which is really cool. So that game will be fun. So hopefully you'll get to decide the motivation for Jason. And I think they have like some Kickstarter goal campaigns. I think I'll have to double check, but I think they unlocked the Jason X costume.
Cool.
Which and one of the things I mentioned, they said, what would you want one of the unlockables to be? And I want to voice my opinion out there. And I even got a like from Tom Savini himself. I'd say have Tom Savini be a playable character.
Oh,
and if I want to tie this in to the Evil Dead remake, which that guy directed From Dusk Till Dawn,
right?
Have Tom Savini's character sex machine cock blast Jason in the mouth with that gun he has, the cock gun. You know?
Yeah. Oh no.
Now that's how you do a show full fucking circle.
You tied it all into I don't even want to say what you tied it into, but you tied it up.
That's how you do it.
That's how you do it.
All right.
Awesome.
Well, there we go. So that's what was the title of that question again? What we named that one?
That's our killer question number 2, which was name a not well considered horror movie you like.
And there we go. And if you have anything else to add, throw it up on the list.
Yep.
All right. That's Halloweekly.
Thanks, guys.